Hello, y'all. Hold on, let's let this camera focus in real quick. Hello. What is going on? There we go. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's been, I guess, 3 weeks or 2 weeks, however you want to put it, but we're back. Obviously, before that, there was kind of like, given I talk about NFL and NBA, there wasn't really much going on, so it's not really too bad that I missed anyway. But I had to play some soccer games, and I had to do some other stuff as well. So I couldn't really be here. Plus, it wasn't really crucial that I was here. But nonetheless, we are back and we are ready to roll because free agency technically was live today. Went live at like 4 p.m. Eastern today is when like people could officially cut people and all that. Yeah, but like it's kind of obviously been the last couple of days, right? You get like the early discussions, like the early like agreements, if you will, before the contracts are signed and all that. But yeah, so we have. We'll get into that, and then obviously there's some NBA stuff as well. NBA is heating up a little bit. It's good stuff. But yeah, we're gonna go over like what people have gotten in the free agency time, or in like so far through free agency, and we'll like give them grades as well, or also like a couple trades as well have been happening. Um, Huge trades, small trades, all that good stuff. But yes, so all right, we're gonna get into. We'll start with the AFC East. The Bills have been having a pretty decent free agency period so far. They re-signed Damar Hamlin. They signed Larry Ojanobi or Larry Ojanobi after the Steelers cut him. They re-signed Greg Rousseau. They signed Joey Bosa, so their D line is looking pretty strong. Um, they obviously have some of the other players as well that they still have. They re-signed Josh Allen and gave him 6 years, 330, which is like 55 a year. And like they were asking him why he didn't like want to reset the market, if you will, but also it's like I liked his answer because he was like, "Oh, I live a pretty good life. Like I don't need some crazy extra amount." But like also it's like they're acting like $55 million a year is like a bad salary. Like what are we talking about? We're talking about like just because he's not making like top dollar quarterback wise does not mean he's like taking some pay cut. The dude's making $55 million a year. That's not the point though. They re-signed Ty Johnson, which Josh Allen likes Ty Johnson a lot, so that's probably good. Uh, and then they got Josh Palmer and re-signed Khalil Shakir. So like their offense is like looking like it's going to kind of be the same. Everybody was like, a lot of people are hyping up the Josh Palmer. I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people were hyping up the Josh Palmer signing. And I wasn't too like, oh, like, how do I say it? Hold on, it's kind of too bright. It's throwing me off. But yeah, so I wasn't like, I'm like, it's just Josh Palmer, right? But I mean, obviously, if you have Josh Allen throwing to you, Josh Palmer becomes better necessarily. I mean, but he also still had he had Justin Herbert, who's not much like worse. Like a lot of people will say he's worse, right? Especially after the last season where he had that rough playoff appearance. But like Josh Palmer compared to like what like with the Bill like you had Amari Cooper, now you have Josh Palmer. Like you're not like crazily increasing. But like obviously if they're because those two wide receivers, Palmer, Shakir, Keon Coleman, both tight ends still being there. James Cook, Josh Allen, their O line. They didn't sign any O linemen. I don't know if they really needed to. I don't know if they lost anybody. So, like, their offense was not the problem last year. So, I don't think it'll be a problem this year. I'm definitely not saying that. I'm just saying, like, I'm not too excited about their offensive signings, but Bosa, because they got rid of Von Miller, so Bosa signing was like a good replacement. Younger, like, kind of similar style player, like quarterback, pass rushing, sack kind of guy. They both have had like injury issues before. Von Miller was getting very old, even though he made that great play in the Ravens game where he picked up the fumble and like ran down the field for like who knows how many yards before he was tackled. I don't know. I don't see, but yeah, him also compared with they apparently got Michael Hocht, whoever that may be, and then Greg Rousseau coming back, Larry Ogunjobi coming to them. They're going to have a good defensive front for rushing, so that's good. So yeah, I guess I'll really give them like a C plus, maybe just a C. No, I'd give them a C minus maybe. Because like yeah, the Bosa thing's good, but you had Von Miller, so you didn't like you could have just kept Von Miller. So like it's not that much of an upgrade, right? And then Ogunjobi is like good. These safeties are like they got good. They're like they re-signed key players that they need. Josh Palmer, like like he wasn't like really top notch receiver like out there. So like they'll just get like an average grade. Yeah, like they did average. They didn't do too much. They didn't do too little. They didn't really like fill any holes. They didn't make any holes. And so they might just be in the same place as they were last year, which was an AFC championship game. So that's not a bad spot to be. The Dolphins in the AFC East as well. We had Zach Wilson go to the Dolphins, which was interesting, him being behind Tua. And then like obviously like say Tua gets injured, which is definitely possible. And then Zach Wilson comes in, he plays well in that system. That'll be good for them because Snoop Huntley and Skylar Thompson were not really it, especially not in backup wise. But even then, Zach Wilson's still really young. Tua's highly overpaid. If he does get a significant injury again, he's definitely even more overpaid and more of a risk. So then you could move off from Tua necessarily and keep Zach Wilson and then search for a new quarterback of the future if you don't believe he's quarterback of the future. They took Nick Westbrook-Akine from the Titans. Dwayne Eskridge re-signed with the team. They got some O-linemen. They got James Daniels, who was formerly a Steeler. I think he was somewhere else last year. But yes, and then Larry Borum, and then re-signing Jackson Carman. Like their O-line is going to be basically the same. James Daniels is not a bad addition. Like great veteran O-line piece, inside guard piece. That's good. Westbrook-Akine, if they keep Tyreek Hill, and then if they keep Ty Hill, and then if they keep Jalen Waddle, Westbrook-Akine is your third best wide receiver is not a bad thing. So that's good. Tyrell Dodson, Ifeatu Melifonwu. Ifeatu Melifonwu came from the Lions. He was a former Lions safety. They got him for 1 year, $4 million. That is not a bad deal for a solid safety. Oh, he actually is playing cornerback now, it says. That's interesting. But he's not a bad DB to have, especially not for $4 million. So that's good. He's still pretty young, too. They got Ashton Davis, who was on the Jets, I believe, last year. And then, so stealing an interdivision person. The Dolphins so far, I would give probably another C minus. Like, you're not really wowing me. You're also not disappointing me. So, yeah. The Patriots have been spending. Whether or not that's for better or for worse is yet to come. But they signed Josh Dobbs, signed Matt Collins, re-signed Austin Hooper, and signed Morgan Moses for their offense. Austin Hooper, solid veteran tight end. Like he's not like obviously top tight end, but you could definitely be doing worse. He's doing a $5 million deal. for a year. So, like, yeah, you could have had a worse off tight end situation. He was solid for them last year, so why not keep a solid tight end? Matt Collins. A lot of people were like saying they're like, oh, Matt Collins isn't like. I think Matt Collins is a dog. Like they kind of needed a really good like dog in there because they got that Demario Davis, him, Matt Collins, and then maybe maybe somebody through the draft or something. But yeah, and then they have Josh Dobbs, which that opens me to thinking they might be willing to move off of Joe Milton. Like if somebody wants to trade for a young rookie quarterback, which hopefully the Steelers do, because we have no quarterbacks on our roster currently. Me as a Steelers fan, right? And I love the way Joe Milton played. And I think he's better than – I still to this day – you can go back on my podcast. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think he's better than Drake May. Drake May did not wow me last year. He played well. He didn't play crazy. He was not playing up to the number 3 pick standards, in my opinion. Like compared to the two dudes that went right before him, he was not as good. And Caleb Williams had a almost worse situation, if you will. And he's about to be a lot better this year, given what he's got. And then Jaden Daniels, his team didn't really get any worse. And he was like the best player in the league, or one of the best players in the league last year. So regardless of rookie or not. So yeah. But Josh Dobbs, solid backup, really smart guy, getting him in there, even if you keep the 2 rookies, because right, Josh Dobbs is a 2-year deal, but like you're not like a future playing quarterback. But having somebody super intelligent near your 2 rookie quarterbacks or 2 second year now quarterbacks that could be QBs of the future is good. Then they got Morgan Moses, 3 years, $24 million to shore up their pass protection. That's really good. Morgan Moses, I mean, he's not the best offensive tackle, but like he's up there. He's like a really good offensive tackle. He's a veteran offensive tackle. So I don't know. He played really well last year, so that's good. Harold Landry from the Titans came there as the edge rusher. Milton Williams came there. Big contract. He was one of the highly sought after free agents because obviously he was just in the Super Bowl. Kiris Tonga also came there for D-line. Robert Spillane and Carlton Davis in the back half. Like Robert Spillane, a middle linebacker, pass coverage middle linebacker kind of guy. Will kind of also run support as well. He's a solid free agent. And then Carlton Davis on the other side, or like maybe covering slot while you have Christian Gonzalez covering how do you say? You have Christian Gonzalez possibly covering the number 1 guy, right? Shadows him. And then you have Carlton Davis in the slot now. And then you possibly, given your draft position, could get Travis Hunter. Sorry, excuse me. Get Travis Hunter, right? Then that 3 cornerback, oh my gosh, that'd be almost the best cornerback room in the league based on like how well they're playing position-wise. And then plus he could also help you out receiver-wise if Travis Hunter is able to play both sides of the ball. And people keep saying that, oh, he can't or he can. Why are we speculating? Just let him do it. Like because obviously he's going to come in and he's going to want to do it. And I'm sure whatever team drafts him, he's going to tell them like, hey, I'm only playing if I can play both sides of the ball. Because that's just kind of like the type of world we're in now. And if he can, then he can. And if he can't, then he can't, right? I don't know. I think that it's definitely possible that he can. Do I think it's like the best idea? Not necessarily. Obviously more possibility for injury. But he seems like he's only really gotten like 1 injury in his college career that I'm aware of. And it was when the Colorado State guy like basically targeted him because they were in a rivalry game and like they were hyped. It was like him and Shadur's first year in Colorado. Colorado State wasn't happy that there was like these superstars in their city or their state. And then they like intentionally injured Travis Hunter, basically. Like they hit him with a cheap shot. But then the D-line, right? Sorry, let's get away from draft talk. But the D-line that they got, Harold Landry and Milton Williams, for the Patriots, those are really good signings. So, like, they paid a little over for them, but they are the Patriots. They had to bring like, right. But then that D line with like a possible really good secondary, and then one of the better defensive coaches in the league, their defense is going to be way better this year than it was last year, which is good because, like I said, Drake May's not like some wow amazing, like, oh, I'm going to get you like 10 touchdowns or like I'm going to get you like 3 touchdowns a week for sure, like kind of guy. So obviously also with like Matt Collins and Demario Davis and Austin Hooper being his like better targets, like, yeah, you're going to need a good defense. So, yeah. And then the Jets, last team in the AFC East, they went out and got Justin Fields. Really, really team-friendly deal for them, if you will. A lot of people were like, oh, I don't like Justin going there. Like Colin Cowherd didn't like it. Others didn't like it. Justin Fields, like I understand being weary, but like him going there wasn't bad. Like it's not like great, yeah, but like who else would the Jets have gone with? Because right, you're not going to get Aaron back. You're not going to get Sam Darnold back probably. You could have gone Russell Wilson, but he's clearly, after we watched the Steelers situation, not better, and he's a lot older than Justin Fields. You could have got Danny Dimes. I mean, maybe because he's already in New York, that would have made sense. But then he wasn't even in New York anymore. He was in Minnesota. So, like, yeah, like Justin Fields kind of made the most sense for them. Also, they have Garrett Wilson, who he's paired back up with. He was in college with Garrett Wilson. We've seen things like that work out well before, which is good. Right? Like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. And then I'm sure there's been others. And like I don't see why the Vikings didn't trade for Kenny Pickett as their backup, because obviously they don't have Danny Dimes anymore or Sam Darnold because they went out elsewhere, which we'll get to later. But Kenny Pickett, who did get traded by the Eagles to the Browns, which is weird. The Browns making weird moves. Browns, no surprise, are like making stupid moves. But so yeah, but yeah, I don't know, like, because Kenny Pickett, right? He played with Jordan Addison, and that would have been like, right? Obviously, you're going to go with JJ McCarthy because he's a way better quarterback than. I mean, JJ McCarthy is really the Vikings' best option, and he was their best option even with Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold out there, and not just because he's cheaper. He's a better quarterback. And then, I guess the Patriots grade, we'll give them like a B- overall. But anyways, back onto the Jets. Chukwuma Okafor went to that team. Offensive tackle, they kind of probably need as much O-line help as they can get. They got Josh Myers as well. So like, yeah, definitely adding like solid veteran pieces to the O-line is good. So can't hate on them for that. They re-signed Jamie Sherwood. They got Brandon Stevens at cornerback, Andre Cisco at safety, and Isaiah Oliver re-signed with them. I don't like this Jets. Like, other than Justin Fields, I'm not a big fan. Like, I'd almost give them a D+, but I'll still give them I don't know. Maybe I'm giving out too many C-, but I'll give them a C-. No, actually, I might give them the D+ because, like, who are these people? Maybe it's like just Aaron Glenn and like the new GM are trying to figure out where they're at still in this new city, new team. Oh my. When I said city, my phone activated. The Ravens, we're moving on to the AFC North now. The Ravens got DeAndre Hopkins, re-signed Patrick Ricard, and re-signed Ronnie Staley. I'll give them a B for that as well. You definitely needed Ricard and Staley back because one of the best offensive tackles in the league. One of the best, if not like second or third best fullback player, like utility fullback player in the league. And then D-Hop, he's like old, but he could still be good. He wasn't like bad for the Chiefs last year, but like I don't know why the Ravens wait till like the end of their career, end of all these wide receivers' careers to sign them. sometimes it works out. Like they had Anquan and Steve Smith at the end of their careers. That worked out well. But then they had like OBJ at the end of his career. It wasn't necessarily like it was so, I don't know. Yeah, I guess. But you can't really like fault them for that. I mean, they got D Hop for a $6 million contract and then like gave the other two guys like decent deals. So it's not like you're like nothing they did was bad. So you don't want to give them like a C, right? But it wasn't great, that's for sure. So you're not going to give them an A. The Bengals, they had Samaje Perine they added. They tagged T. Higgins, gave Mike Gesicki a pay raise, re-signed Cody Ford for the offense. I don't like any of this because it doesn't include Jamar Chase. Why would you franchise tag T. Higgins and then they need to trade T. Higgins? I don't care what Joe Burrow or anybody on this team is saying. They need to trade T. Higgins. And it's funny, Mike Gesicki was like, oh, yeah, like he was like, oh, I'm cool with paying the Joe Burrow tax to like stay on this team. But then he got like a pay raise. And it's like, what? You're not paying the tax. You got more money. Nobody else is going to give you that much money. Or if anything, like just as like you're only going to get just as much somewhere else. Okay, it's whatever. But yeah, Cody Ford, like basically the only addition they made was Samaje Perine because they already had Higgins, gave him too much money now. Gesicki, too much money now. Cody Ford, I mean, he's a good O-lineman, so I don't see. And then Samaje Perine, who's like adding him like to what, Zach Moss and Chase Brown? Not great. And then all these re-signings, right? BJ Hill, which is a good re-sign. And then Joseph Osai, Marco Wilson, all re-signs. And then, yeah, they didn't even sign anybody good. Like the Bengals, D- for the Bengals. What the hell are they doing? Maybe an F. They're failing right now. Yeah, they're failing bad. They're getting an F. Another team probably getting an F, Cleveland Browns. They traded for Kenny Pickett, and they gave the Eagles Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a 2025 fifth-round pick. If you were going to trade for an Eagles quarterback, you're obviously not getting Hurts, but why would you not try for Tanner McKee? I'm not saying maybe they did. And maybe the Eagles were like, no, we won't give you Tanner McKee, but we'll give you fucking Kenny Pickett because he's trash. But DTR is not too far off from Kenny Pickett. I think he's better. Some people think Kenny's better. I watched enough Steelers play to see Kenny Pickett and know how bad Kenny Pickett is. And Dorian Thompson-Robinson also has not been great either. So you basically swapped similar level players. I mean, DTR wasn't working for you. I don't know how well you think Kenny Pickett's going to work for you, but you traded similar level players and then gave them a pick, a 2025 fifth-round pick. What is that? They re-signed Myles Garrett to like a $40 million a year average deal. They got some random offensive tackle, some random edge rusher. They got Malik Collins on D-line, and they got Devin Bush. Yeah, that's an F. This is an F. You're like Myles Garrett got a no trade. Myles Garrett went from I want to be traded from this team. I hate this team and the direction it's going to like, okay, if you guys are going to give me the most money, that's a non-quarterback deal, and you guys are going to let me get a no trade clause, which he has now, I'll stay. What? Good. Stay there. Be trash. Because the Browns are trash, and that's where you're going to stay. Yeah, that's an F. The Steelers, I hate to say this, it's probably not going to be an F, but I'm not too hype on what they're doing either. We signed Kenneth Gainwell after letting Najee Harris go. Jaylen Warren still isn't signed to anybody, anywhere, which is crazy to me. That dude's a dog. I would love to have Jaylen Warren back. We traded for DK Metcalf, and now we're paying him $33 million a year. We basically gave him a 2025 second-round pick, and there was like a pick swap in the end. but like that doesn't matter. We gave him basically a 2025 second round pick for DK Metcalf. The pick isn't too bad, but paying him $33 million a year is crazy. And like this one, I'm a little bit more like actually frustrated about because I'm a Steelers fan. We signed Donald Parham Jr., which isn't bad. He's a solid tight end. He's played tight end for the Chargers for like I believe his whole career, and then now he's with us. He's going to be behind Pat Freiermuth, so I'll take him as a backup tight end all day. We signed Malik Harrison, a D lineman. He came from the Ravens, I believe, which is we'll take stealing a division opponent's player all day. And then Brandon Eccles, the quarterback, and then Darius Slay, cornerback as well. Darius Slay is good. Donald Parham is not bad. The DK Metcalf trade could have been slightly more in our favor, but like obviously if you're going to go get a star, you kind of have to. Kenneth Gainwell better not be our starting running back next year. That's all I got to say. If we're going to draft somebody like Cam Skattebo in like the 20s in the draft, that's fine. But this didn't wow me. I'll give it like a C+. I don't know. Also we got to figure out who we're getting at quarterback too, which hints the Aaron Rodgers jersey. You could tell who I want on my team. If we re-sign Russell Wilson, I'm going to be like a very upset Steelers fan because it's not the best deal. Like Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson will probably be similar amounts of money, and Aaron Rodgers is a far better player. I wish we would have gotten Devontae Adams and then Aaron Rodgers and then just made it boom. But I guess we'll take DK Metcalf. And then that probably like a lot of people are speculating that's going to lead to us trading George Pickens, which, I mean, I like George Pickens. He's very talented. But, yeah, if he doesn't fix his ways, we might as well trade him. And then what are we even going to get? Because we're not getting our second-round pick back. We might as well trade him in the deal for DK if we're going to trade him. Who knows? I hope they sign Cooper Kupp as well. Cooper Kupp, Aaron Rodgers, and then draft Cam Skattebo. Please. I'm an ASU fan as well because I go there, and I'm from Arizona. So hopefully. But, yeah. Not wowed. Not extremely disappointed, but I am slightly disappointed. So I'll give them a C. C+. Somewhere in that range. But, yeah. We'll move on to the AFC South. The Texans. I don't know what the Texans are doing. I don't know what they're doing. They signed Braxton Berrios, traded for Christian Kirk, signed Justin Watson from the Chiefs. Like, I don't know. Maybe they're like, okay, we don't need like high-level wide receivers anymore. Like similar to the Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, and Nico Collins era. They still are going to have Nico Collins next year. Tank Dell might be injured, but that'll be fine. Because obviously they have like enough like decent level guys. They also have that Hutchinson kid. They'll have enough for like them to come back. Yeah. They signed Laken Tomlinson, traded away Laramie Tunsil. That made no sense to me. Apparently it was like I read something today where it was like, oh, they're having a toxic offensive lineman room and like all this. Well, if that's the case, why would you trade? I guess unless Laramie Tunsil, I didn't fully read into the article, but it's like unless Laramie Tunsil was the issue in your O-line room, why would you trade him? That's the only thing that could make sense to me because he was clearly your best offensive lineman. But Laken Tomlinson isn't a bad sign-up. They got Derek Barnett back, Darnell Taylor, Mario Edwards, and Sheldon Rankins. Their D-line is not looking like the greatest, but it's looking good. It's looking solid. So we'll see how that is. Then they got C.J. Gardner-Johnson from the Eagles and traded away Kenyon Green. But they replaced Kenyon Green kind of with the Laken Tomlinson signing, who's like cheaper. I don't know. That's not bad. C.J. Gardner-Johnson will be good for them. They kind of needed good defensive backs, so that's good. I don't know. I don't really know what to give this grade. I would say D. It wasn't good. D plus. Just because of CJ Gardner Johnson, we'll give it a D plus. The Colts, they got Daniel Jones, who as of right now is probably the cheapest starting quarterback, not on a rookie deal. They got Khalil Herbert, who was like a late addition to the Bengals last year from the Bears. They got Ashton Dulin to re-sign. Danny Pinter as their center re-signed. Their O-line suffered 2 key losses. There was like Ryan Kelly and like a different guy. Those were not good. And then they went and got on defense Charvarius Ward and Cameron Bynum. Those were both good signings. Those were both great signings. That's good. So Daniel Jones is a good pickup. The rest, I mean, not too bad. And then Charvarius Ward and Cameron Bynum are both great pickups as well. So I'll give them a B plus even. I mean, they lost their O-lineman, but there's really not much you can do about that. Like, if they want to go somewhere else, they want to go somewhere else. But they're like, if they signed or re-signed, or if they signed better O-linemen or re-signed some of the ones they had, they would definitely have an A. But right now, they're not doing bad because, right, they still have Jonathan Taylor. They have good wide receivers. Daniel Jones now, and then bolstered up their defense. Their secondary needed it, so that's good. So, yeah, I'll give them a B. For sure. B plus maybe. Jaguars signed Nick Mullins. Probably going to be their third string. I don't know. They signed Dyami Brown, who was playing really well for the Commanders last year. That's good. They signed Hunter Long and Johnny Munt. Interesting tight end signings. I don't know why they needed both those guys. Chuma Edoga, Robert Hainsey, Patrick McCarry, all offensive linemen. Good to bolster the O-line there. Jordan Lewis on the cornerback, and then Eric Murray on the safety. Eric Murray, good pickup. Jordan Lewis, terrible pickup. Patrick McCarry, good pickup. The tight ends were interesting. Dyami Brown was a good pickup. Nick Mullins was just like, I mean, I guess you need a third string quarterback. I don't know. Because is Mac Jones still not on this team? I'm lost. I'm confused. Anyway, I'll give that a C plus. I really don't like paying Jordan Lewis $10 million a year. Or 12, whatever this is. That's terrible. But Dyami Brown's a good replacement of Christian Kirk, even though Christian Kirk, you weren't really using him. So, yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad. B minus, C plus. No, C plus. Because it wasn't good. It wasn't great. Titans, they signed Van Jefferson for $2.5 million a year. That's good. They signed Dan Moore Jr. for a 4-year, $82 million deal. That is insane. $30 million in year one. That is so stupid. It's not even funny. He was a terrible offense there. Like I said, I'm a Steelers fan. I watch a lot of Steelers football. Dan Moore was not worth that much money. There's a reason we did not give him that much money, because we need O-linemen. We're not letting O-linemen go that are good because we need O-linemen. Why would we let somebody worth that much money go? That is insane. They gave Kevin Zeitler 1 year, $9 million contract, far better O-lineman. He's not an offensive tackle, obviously, right? So clearly there needs to be like a pay difference because offensive tackles are technically more important. But like, what are we doing here? The Zeitler signing was good. And then they re-signed Sebastian Joseph Day. Good. Cody Barton, linebacker. I don't know. That Dan Moore signing just tanks this whole thing. I give it a D. That's terrible. I give it a D. Whoever you're drafting, like, if I'm Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, and I'm like sitting here seriously talking to the Titans about getting drafted, and they're like, oh, yeah, we just signed this offensive tackle to help protect you. We gave him $20 million a year on average. And then I'd be like, oh, my gosh, who? And then you're like, oh, it was Dan Moore. I'd be like, don't draft me. Do not draft me. go get somebody else. If you want to kill somebody, kill Will Levis, right? Like, if you want to get somebody just mauled. Oh, hold on. My battery died. My camera. Let's see here. Perfect. Yeah. Well, so excuse me for that. Let's let the camera refocus. Say hello to Olive. I think we're good. Cool. All right. All right. So excuse me for that. The battery on the camera died. My fault. They need new batteries for the camera. But anyways, besides the point. So we were on. We just moved on to the Broncos. We were on the Titans and how bad that Titans. Why did they get damn more? Yeah. Oh yeah. I was basically saying, if you want to go get somebody like destroyed, go destroy Will Levis's career, not mine. That's what I'm telling them if I'm Shador or Cam Ward. The Broncos re-signed Jarrett Stidham. I don't get that. Get rid of that man. I mean, I guess he knows your bet. I don't know. Weird. They signed Trent Sherfield. They just today got Evan Ingram. Matt Peart re-signed. DJ Jones re-signed. Dre Greenlaw. So, defensive-wise, really good. Dre Greenlaw re-signed one of their linebackers. Hufanga, also from the 49ers. They got two 49ers studs. And then and then Evan Ingram and then Trent Sherfield giving Bo Nix some more weapons. Honestly, I'm okay with this. This is good. This is like, we'll give it a B minus for sure. Because Hufanga, Greenlaw, great plays. Ingram and Sherfield, great plays as well. A bunch of the other ones were just re-signings. So you added a pretty good setup there. That is not bad. We'll give that a B minus. Actually, we'll just give it a B. Because you only added good people. Like, you didn't really add, like, Trent Sherfield, right? 2-year, $6 million contract. You're paying $3 million for a pretty solid wide receiver. That's not bad. I wouldn't complain. The Chiefs, they signed Elijah Mitchell, re-signed Marquise Brown. They got Jalen Moore from the 49ers. 49ers lost basically their whole team. I don't even know who's on this 49ers team still. So it's not like they're signing people to replace these people. I don't understand. They re-signed Trey Smith, re-signed Nick Bolton, got Christian Fulton, re-signed Matt Araiza. They tendered Matt Araiza. Oh, that's weird. That's interesting. Anyway, yeah. So they re-signed three really key players, right? Because Marquise Brown now becomes really key because Xavier Worthy may get suspended. Who knows? He choked somebody in his family. I hope everything's okay with Xavier Worthy and his family members. I've been choked by family members. I mean, who hasn't? But, yeah. Like, I was waiting for something to happen with Xavier Worthy, or I knew there's a possibility. Because right before Xavier Worthy got drafted, there was a Texas Longhorns coach, because Xavier Worthy came from Texas. He was like a wide receiver coach or something of the sort. He said Xavier Worthy is a hothead. Like apparently like he has like diabetes, and like when he doesn't take his medicine, he gets all like crazy, like out of control. That's what this Texas coach said, right? Now, I mean, I don't know who the Texas coach is. Obviously, he stayed anonymous, which is a smart move when you're making crazy ass claims like that at the time. But now it seems like, okay, maybe there's some legitimacy behind that, right? And then obviously, whenever those things get released, there's always the possibility of legitimacy behind it. So I hope Xavier Worthy's fine. I hope he's able to come back and everything like gets put behind them. But yeah, him and Marquise Brown were good. Rashee Rice obviously will probably be suspended since he did some stupid shit like 2 seasons ago when they didn't get the investigation done in time to suspend him last year. Probably suspend him this year, but that's not really going to matter because he was going to be injured anyway. Because Patrick Mahomes is dumb. He fucking blew out his own player's knee. But yeah, this was not bad. They added Christian Fulton. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't know where that dude came from. I don't know who Christian Fulton is. Jalen Moore was just playing behind Trent Williams, who's one of the best offensive tackles of all time. So that's probably going to bid well for them. And Elijah Mitchell, I don't know. The Chiefs always have some like random set of running backs, but it always seems to work for them. But I mean, their time might be up. Their window might be closing. But that is not due to this because they have not signed bad necessarily. I won't give them I'll give them a C or C plus. I won't give them a B or anything because like I'm not like, oh wow, that was really good. But it was definitely solid. The Raiders traded for Geno Smith. Really good. They needed somebody at quarterback. Really good for them. They gave up a 3rd-round pick to get him, which isn't bad. I mean, like you're not going to get a better quarterback than Geno Smith probably in the 3rd round, or at least not right off the rip. Like maybe you get Jackson Dart in the 3rd round, but I'd rather have Geno Smith. They signed Alex Kappa. Pretty good offensive guard, Super Bowl winning guard. With Tom Brady likes Alex Kappa. Tom Brady played with Alex Kappa, so of course he goes to Tom Brady's team. Not surprising. Re-signed Max Crosby, luckily before the Myles Garrett signing because Myles Garrett got paid crazy, and Max Crosby probably would have been asking for that. But he got 3 years, $106.5 million. So that's like, oh man, let's do some math here. So 99 would be 33. It's like 35 million a year, like 35 and some change. That's good. They also re-signed their other edge, which is good, and they re-signed their interior D line, which is good because that wasn't the issue for them. They got Elandon Roberts, who played really well for the Steelers the last couple of seasons. Got Eric Stokes, who's good. Jeremy Chin, who's good, and Isaiah Pola-Mao. Like, I believe he came back to them. I believe they did well. I almost want to give them an A because their D line was good. It was one of the only things good about their defense last year. They re-signed all of them. They got another guy who could play like a versatile, like utility tool linebacker spot. They bolstered their secondary, so their defense is way better. They got Geno Smith, an actual solid quarterback, and then they got a guard that Tom Brady loves to guard him, to help guard him, right? This is good. This is an A. This is actually an A. I didn't even realize that the Raiders did this well, but that's an A. I mean, like they didn't get fleeced on the deal. They're not paying Max Crosby a crazy amount compared to what else he could be making. And like, dude, they got some decent players at some decent amounts of money. That's good. They're only paying Kappa $5 million a year, and they're only paying Jeremy Chin $8 million a year. And they're only paying Elandon Roberts $3 million. Wow. Yeah, they got wow. And then this is like all pre-draft. So like they have so many holes filled, and then they're not even at the draft yet. Wow. The Los Angeles Chargers, Najee Harris, really good deal for them. They re-signed Jalen Reagor. I don't like that. They re-signed Bradley Bosman. I do like that. They got Khalil Mack back. Originally, Khalil Mack was supposed to leave and go test free agency. I think he did, but then he still ended up coming back, which is really good and really key because obviously they don't have Bosa because he went to the Bills, as we stated in the first team of the episode. They re-signed an interior lineman, re-signed a linebacker, got Denzel Perryman back. They got Dante Jackson, and also another former Steeler. They got Elijah Molden, and then they got Benjamin St-Juste. So their defensive backs, those are all cornerbacks actually, technically, but their defensive back room overall increased, right? Their linebackers, their D-line, not bad. They can replace Bosa somehow. I mean, honestly, he was injured quite a bit, so it's not like they're really replacing somebody who was there all the time anyway. And then they could have done more on offense. I mean, obviously everything's not over yet, but Najee coming is good for them. And I don't want Jalen Reagor. I mean, they know how to pick their wide receivers, am I right? Like, oh my goodness. They need to either draft another wide receiver or pick one up, whether that be Amari Cooper or some wide receiver from the draft like Teddy Rowe, McMillan, something. They need a solid wide receiver other than Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey's good. He's not really a bona fide number one to me yet. I would have rather have signed Josh Palmer than Jalen Reagor, but they didn't. So I don't know. But yeah, that's good. I'll give them a B. A lot of re-signing, but a lot of added good people. I'll give them a B. So that division did really well in free agency. So far, that's been the best division. So that's good. Because the Browns and the Bengals were ruining it for their division. The Jets are kind of ruining it for their division. Also, that division wasn't super strong with anything that they did. And then the Texans, I don't know what they're doing. And then the Titans, I don't know. No. Yeah. So far, best division so far, of course, is the AFC West because they have the four best coaches, probably four of the better GMs. They got Tom Brady in that division. The Hunt family, legendary family. Walmart family who knows how to build something. My goodness. The Cowboys, they signed Javonte Williams at running back. They re-signed Osa Odighizuwa. They signed Solomon Thomas. Oh, they got Kenneth Murray in a trade from the Titans. That's probably the best thing. They got Kaiir Elam, who was not good for the Bills last year. I don't even need to keep going. They re-signed Kevontae Turpin. This is bad. D. Just because they didn't overpay for any of these people, I'll give them a D. And re-signing Osa was good. And Kenneth Murray, this is for a late round pick swap. So that's good. Oh, wow. That's a really good linebacker for a late round pick swap. Wow. Kaiir Elam, that was a dumb trade. I don't know. But I guess they kind of needed cornerbacks, so it's not too bad. But yeah, we'll give them a D. D plus, I guess. At least they got rid of Jordan Lewis. So I guess I'd rather have Kaiir Elam than Jordan Lewis, to be honest. So going forward anyway, right? The Giants, they re-signed Tommy DeVito, re-signed Darius Slayton, re-signed Amir Smith-Marset, right? Re-signed Chris May. They re-signed a lot of people. They got 2 offensive tackles, which is good. That's really good. Decent offensive tackle. They got Stone Forsythe and James Hudson. Not bad options. They got Chauncey Golston on their D-line as well as Lloyd Robertson Harris. They got Paulson Adebo from the Saints and Javon Holland to bolster their secondary, which that was really good. So the Giants didn't do bad. And then depending on who they get at quarterback, given they don't trade up for Shedeur, which I think they might. I think they may trade the Browns. I will say that Cam Ward, if at all, will go to the Titans. And then Shedeur Sanders will go to the Giants with a trade. It's going to be a trade. They're going to trade up to number 2. They might even trade up to number 1 and not take chances because the Browns, if they were smart, would take Shedeur. But then the Browns are also hosting Russell Wilson. So are the Giants. But it's like the Giants, right? If you want to get Shedeur and Russell Wilson, like if you can get Russell Wilson on like a cheap deal, I don't blame you. But the Browns, they got Deshaun Watson. They just traded for Kenny Pickett. What are they doing? I don't know. This isn't great for the Giants. I'll give them a C though. Actually, I'll give them a B so far. Could go up or down depending on who they get, how quarterback and draft goes. But so far, what they've done with the Javon Holland and Paulson Adebo, and then the 2 tackles, I'll give them that. Like a B minus C plus range, but definitely not bad. The Eagles, they did that Dorian Thompson-Robinson trade. I'll give them props. They actually won that trade, I would say. They don't need Kenny Pickett. DTR is a great third-string quarterback, if that's what you need him as, and that's what they could use him as because Tanner McKee looked good. I almost said great. Excuse me. Right, and then you got a 5th-round pick for that. So I'll take that all day. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is also probably cheaper than Kenny Pickett. Also, given he's more mobile than Kenny Pickett, he matches your Jalen Hurts starter even more. They signed Barkley to an extension, got A.J. Dillon to be his backup, got Kenyon Green as an offensive guard, and then re-signed Zach Bond. So I don't really like trading away Gardner Johnson because he's good. I wouldn't say that it was bad. It wasn't a bad trade. They could use Kenyon Green. They give him an A. Give him an A. The Eagles, of course, a really well-ran organization, are going to get an A. And it seems to be similar free agency grades every year. Some will change, right? Obviously, the Patriots did better this year than last year because they have a better setup. But, the Cowboys are always dumb. Eagles are always good. Browns, Bengals, always dumb. Steelers are always mediocre. Things like that. AFC West, good. There's reasons for this stuff. That's all I'm saying. The Commanders, they did well, and they've been ran well recently. I don't like how they traded for Debo instead of Ayuk, but we can live with that, right? Because you got Debo for a 5th-round pick. That's not bad. If they would have got him for more, I would have been like, wow, you definitely should have gone and traded for a better pick or a better you should have gotten for Ayuk. I wanted to see Ayuk back with Jaden Daniels. I like the whole college teammate, NFL teammate vibe. I like it. I said earlier in this show, I just wanted to see it. I don't know. Also, I'm, like I said, an ASU fan is why I also said that earlier. And I like this Commanders team as well. So I'd love to see, because Ayuk obviously would be better for them. But honestly, with T-Mac, Terry McLaurin on the outside, right? And then they lost. They got Zacchaeus. They got the McCaffrey brother. And they got Debo. But so Debo being your inside, route running, fast, quick, twitchy guy with McLaurin as your deep ball guy, I'll take that all day. I will take that all day. And they got Zach Ertz back. And they got a better O-line like crazy with Laramie Tunsil. They got Jeremy McNichols back and Marcus Mariota back as the backup quarterback. Oh, wow. That's good. Javon Kinlaw to the D-line, which is good because they needed him to replace Jonathan Allen, who they let go, but that's fine because Jonathan Allen was a little bit older, probably going to be still kind of expensive. They don't need him. They got Deron Payne. They got Javon Kinlaw now. They got Bobby Wagner back. They got Jonathan Jones on a 1-year deal. That's not bad. They got Zane Gonzalez back. Tress Way back. Their special teams is good. They got Will Harris as a safety on a 2-year deal. Oh, man. I'll give them an A as well. I'll give them an A. There's no reason not to give them an A. Any hole that they had, or any hole that got created for them with this year's free agency, they replaced it with the D-tackle stuff, right? Anything that they had lacking, or the main things that they had lacking last year on offense, were a little bit more protection for Jaden, and more weapons. Debo and Laremy Tunsil, they did not lose those trades. They got really good deals on those trades. I would not complain. Because Laremy Tunsil acquired in a trade with Texans along with a 2025 fourth-round pick in exchange for a third and seventh-round pick in 2025 and a second and fourth-round pick in 2026. You could waste your third and second-round pick, right, on offensive tackles that you would hope would turn into Laremy Tunsil. And then the seventh and fourth round pick, they got a fourth round pick, right? So basically, I guess if they traded up, yeah, that's not bad. Like, we'll take that all day. Re-signed good players, key players for them. Not bad. Oh, yeah. So good. Man, the Eagles and if it wasn't for the Giants and the Cowboys being trash, they'd be competing for the top division with the AFC West. But yeah, sorry. This jersey's too long. I got it for free there, so it's fine. Somebody actually gave this jersey, probably because it was an Aaron Rodgers jersey, and he was on the Packers, and probably somebody got upset, and like, I never wear this anymore. He's not on the Packers. Which sucks because my wife, we got her a Steelers jersey, right? First Steelers jersey she's ever gotten was a Najee Harris jersey. And now it's like, well, now we got to get her a new jersey. But then I'm afraid to get her a new jersey because every time I get a Steelers jersey that is an active player, it goes bad. I got Emmanuel Sanders. We traded him. I got Heath Miller. He retired. And then she got Najee. He left, right? Like, I have a Terry Bradshaw jersey, right? But he was already retired, so that doesn't matter. It's bad news. Maybe I shouldn't have worn this. Terrible. But let's go. NFC North. The Bears. The Bears did not disappoint. They got a good center, really good center, traded for two of the better offensive guards in the game, and got one of the probably the best O lineman on free agents in that center with Drew Dahlman. And then, wow. Yeah. And then got Grady Jarrett and Dayo Ode, oh my gosh. Dayo Odeyingbo. Sorry. Yeah, they got them on their D-line. Oh, man, with Sweat as well. Dude. I think it's Sweat on their D-line. Wow. That's going to be good. This is going to be good. The Bears did good. Because, right, they have Caleb Williams. They have receivers and a tight end for them. They didn't need anything there. I mean, they could have got a running back. Maybe they still can in the draft. But their tackles haven't been bad because they had like some pretty decent tackles from recent drafts. Their D-line's even crazier now. Their defensive backs aren't bad. That's good. That's an A. That's an A for the Bears. A for the Bears, for sure. The Lions got Marcus Davenport to re-sign. Roy Lopez from the former Cardinals. Levi Onwuzurike re-signed, and Derek Barnes re-signed, and then DJ Reed. Oh, yeah, they got DJ Reed. So basically they just added DJ Reed and Roy Lopez, which is good because they need Roy Lopez for defensive line depth because that was clearly an issue last year. They re-signed 3 key players on their team and then got DJ Reed, which they need, or which was good because I think they might have lost one of their DBs. But either way, DJ Reed, even if you don't lose a DB, is a good pickup. So we'll give them an A as well, right? Because you just added depth on your D-line, which you needed, re-signed key players, and then got a really good cornerback on like a not so like crazy deal. So like DJ Reed was probably one of the top corners or defensive backs that were available, and they got him, which is good. And like I said, they need any depth on their defense. But yeah, we'll give them an A. They could have done more necessarily, but an A is fine. The Packers, all they've really done is get Aaron Banks. They got Nate Hobbs as well, like re-signed the linebacker, then re-signed Brandon McManus. But Aaron Banks is good. That's the thing is like, what do the Packers really need? I mean, they need a number 1 wide receiver, right? That's like the biggest storylines around the Packers. But they have their running back, their tight end, their quarterback. They bolstered their O-line, which is good. But Aaron Banks was a good signing. The 49ers got to have like 22 people on their roster. They're barely going to be able to field the team. Yeah, Nate Hobbs isn't a bad cornerback to get. They're talking about trading Jair Alexander. That would be a huge factor on this grade, but it hasn't happened yet. So I guess you could give them I'll give them a B plus, maybe an A minus. I don't know, because Nate Hobbs isn't bad. It's a good signing. They got him for $48 million for 4 years. I don't really like that price point so much, and then Aaron Banks they almost overpaid for as well. 4 years, $77 million. It's almost $20 million a year for Aaron Banks. Oh my goodness. I mean, they weren't bad signings though. So yeah, we'll give them a B plus. Aaron Jones back to the Vikings. The Vikings got Will Freeze and Ryan Kelly on their O-line. Crazy good pickups. Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave on their D-line. Crazy good pickups. Re-signed Byron Murphy. Got Isaiah Rodgers. Got Tavierre Thomas. Got Theo Jackson. All for DBs. An A. I don't even need to keep going. Well, I mean, that was it also, but an A. That D-line is going to be crazy. That O-line is going to be crazy, right? Like now, crazy good O-line, good veteran running back, crazy wide receiver core. J.J. McCarthy set up really well with a mastermind as an offensive coach. And J.J., they were that good last year with Sam Darnold. J.J. McCarthy is more talented. I keep arguing with my friend Jacob about this. He keeps telling me, I think it's because he's from Southern California. He's like Colin Cowherd. He's a homer. He loves some Sam Darnold. He's like, no, Sam Darnold was a better talent, more talented. No, he's not. He also was like, well, he also likes Jim Harbaugh a lot, and he said he watched a lot of J.J. McCarthy. I got faith in J.J. I don't know what it is. I think he was kind of limited in Michigan with what he was able to do, with what he was allowed to do, if you will. He was able to do more. He had the capabilities to do more, but he was only allowed so much like freedom or liberation with Jim Harbaugh's scheme. So we'll have to see. But yeah, that and the defense improved. Oh my goodness. That's good. All day, that's good. So an A, a B plus, an A, and an A. They're the AFC West of the NFC. They're the NFC. The NFC North and the AFC West are like the best two divisions so far, like Rand-wise or like free agency-wise. Like, oh my gosh, these teams have gone crazy. The NFC South might be one of the worst ones. Why the South division so bad? Like, it's crazy. Like the South, like college football-wise, SEC was crazy for so long, so good. So many great players come out of the southeastern portion of the United States. But when it comes to the NFL, these dudes must not be coming home, or they must be getting exposed. Because the South AFC and the South NFC, worst divisions in both sides. Daryl Hodge, back to the Jake Matthews to the Falcons, Leonard Floyd to the Falcons. Like, this is so average. C all day. Andy Dalton back to the Panthers. That's where Rico Dowdle went. I didn't know where Rico Dowdle went. I was wondering why nobody signed him yet. He went to the Panthers. That's good. That's good for them. That is really good for them. They got Tommy Tremble back. Who else? Nobody really crazy here. They re-signed Tracy Horn. Yeah, that's a C as well, though. Very, very mediocre. Very mediocre. The Saints are like they're battling for the worst organization in NFL. They got Devon Goodshow from the Patriots in a draft in a trade. They re-signed they re-signed Chase Young. They signed Justin Reed. Their defense did well. They did well redoing their defense, but bad overall. Off season, because why do they sign Kellen Moore to be their head coach? Why? And also, why is Derek Carr still your starting quarterback? Oh my gosh, I don't know. The Saints are bad, and they are going to continue being bad. And then the Buccaneers, thank goodness for the Buccaneers, this whole division would be so terrible. Chris Godwin, re-signed, good. Ben Bredson, re-signed, good. Levante David, re-signed, good. They went out and got Hassan Reddick, and they actually agreed to deal with him before the season, so he might actually play the whole season, which is good. And that's it. Oh, they also got Riley Dixon, which is good. He's a good punter. So, yeah, really, I mean, I guess you'll give him like an A by default because all they did was re-sign people and then get a really good punter and a really good edge rusher. So yeah, you gotta give him an A. So right, but then like the rest of that division is like CD level off seasons, free agents signings. Like, come on now. What are we doing here? Right. And obviously you gotta have the balance, right? We can't have every team having an A grade, right? Because not every team can go out and get the best free agents because there's only so many of the best free agents. But some of these teams just like aren't really like, what are they doing? Like they're not filling their holes. I mean, obviously there's still the draft to come. I don't know. The Cardinals, though, as we move on to the NFC West, the last division left, this division didn't do too bad. I mean, well, we'll get into it. All right, we'll get into it. Jacoby Brissett going to the Cardinals. Really good move by the Cardinals. Really good move by the Cardinals. You need a backup for Kyler. Jacoby Brissett is basically one of the best backups in the game. So, not bad. Like, he's like one of those guys that's like, oh, he almost could be a starter. He has been a starter. Like, but now he's kind of in the backup role, kind of like a Mariota, a Jimmy G. Like, these guys are, it's like, oh, yeah, I would take them as a backup for sure. Right? Re-signed Zay Jones. Dumb. Re-signed Kelvin Beachum. Dumb. Re-signed Evan Brown. Good. So we're kind of evening out here. Re-signed Baron Browning, who they traded for last year. Good. Make sure your trade comes through. Re-signed LJ Collier. Good. He started playing well for them last year. Signed Josh Sweat. Good. Like, so they have a lot of edge rushers now. I don't know what's up with that. Got Akeem Davis Gaither, who I believe was on the Bengals, if I'm not mistaken, and then re-signed their long snapper. So I don't like Kelvin Beachum signing, but also like giving Kelvin Beachum has improved throughout his time on the Cardinals. He's still not great, but he might have been your best option. Zay Jones, there was no reason to give him a new deal. You don't need a wide receiver, especially not that bad. Baron Browning, making sure your trade, you get the most out of your trade is good. And like he played well for them last year after the trade. Davis Gaither and Sweat coming in. Those are good pickups. So I'd give them a B. Almost an A. Almost an A. Because the re-signs were key. Jacoby Brissett was really good. The Zay Jones, Kelvin Beachum, I don't love. Evan Brown, I like. Baron Browning, I like. LG Collier, I like re-signing. And then Sweat and Gaither, I like signing and bringing in. So a B plus A minus territory right there for sure. Not like, oh my gosh, I'm blown away, but that's good. That is definitely for Cardinal standards. That's an A actually. It's damn near an A plus because Cardinals standards are so low now. It's crazy. Jimmy Garoppolo went back to the Rams. Matthew Stafford went back to the Rams. Devontae Adams went to the Rams. Tutu Atwell went back to the Rams. Ulrich Jackson went back to the Rams. And then they stole Poona Ford from the Seahawks D-line and put him on theirs. Really smart move with that Poona Ford move and Devontae Adams. The rest, really good re-signings. And then adding Devontae Adams and adding Poona Ford, we're giving the Browns an A. I mean, Browns, I'm sorry. Excuse me. We're giving the Rams an A. Browns will probably never get an A in any context like this. But the Rams, we are going to give an A. Of course, because they're a well-ran organization. Like I said earlier in this episode, these well-ran organizations normally get these A's or these B's because it's hard to make dumb decisions when you have the resources and the knowledge to be smart about these things. They lost Jonah Jackson, not the best, but they they traded him, right, to the Bears. Let's see what the Bears gave them, because it doesn't say right there. Jonah Jackson acquired and traded with the Los Angeles Rams in exchange for a 2025 sixth-round pick. I don't like that. I don't really like that. But I guess, they don't really need him. I don't know. Hopefully they replace him with something good. But yeah, anyway. Rams did well. 49ers got Patrick Taylor re-signed. Demarcus Robinson from the Rams. Luke Farrell they signed in place of kind of like the Kyle Juszczyk role because they got rid of Juszczyk. They signed Ben Bartch, Luke Gifford, and Richie. This is an F. The amount of players they've lost and the lack thereof of replacing them properly, I'm giving the 49ers an F. They've done so bad in free agency. It's not even funny. And we're just going to leave it there. They failed. They straight up failed, flopped. Whatever you want that F to stand for, they fucked up. They did bad. They're trash. It's pathetic. And then the Seahawks, last but not least team, got the most talked about free agent, really, Sam Darnold, on a 3-year, $100.5 million deal. A lot of people consider that the Baker Mayfield contract, right, where it's okay, you're not going to get top dog, top dollar, right? But is Sam Darnold on a Baker Mayfield level? Yeah, he did really well for the Vikings last year, but he could have done better. I don't know. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Hopefully for him it works out, right? I don't know if Sam Darnold on the Seahawks is really going to be that great. So we'll just have to wait and see. I don't know if it's just crazy to me to think sometimes how these dudes are paid is not on the same level of how well they do, right? Because Baker Mayfield's a far better quarterback than Sam Darnold. And then Trevor Lawrence is making more than both of them. He's not as good as either one of them. I don't know. Craziness. They also got Marquez Valdes-Scantling, which is good. They got rid of Tyler Lockett and they got rid of or traded away DK. I don't know what they're doing. Jackson Smith-Njigba doesn't know what they're doing either. They also got rid of, oh my gosh, this is such a weird. So they got rid of Geno as well. That's so weird. Oh, Geno's back reunited with Pete Carroll. That's crazy. Ooh, which means Tyler Lockett might go there. My buddy Jacob earlier was saying that Lockett to the Raiders makes sense, and I was like, why? I didn't get it. But now I'm kind of obviously seeing it. They got Josh Jones. Oh, I think he came from the Cardinals. The offensive tackle from the Cardinals. That's a good move. Oh, they just signed DeMarcus Lawrence today, former Cowboys player. They got Jaron Reed to re-sign and Ernest Jones to re-sign. This is I'll give this a B. I like the DeMarcus Lawrence. That's a good replacement for Poona Ford, even though he went in division. But then you stole an offensive tackle from in division, which is good. Marquez Valdes-Scantling is not a bad wide receiver. He is absolutely he absolutely pales in comparison to what you just had. I don't know why they should have just re-signed Tyler Lockett. What are you doing? He's probably because Valdes-Scantling is his 1 year, $5.5 million. I don't know how much Tyler Lockett was asking for. Couldn't have been too much more than that. But oh my gosh. What are we talking about here? I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the Seahawks are doing. Also, the Sam Darnold, I don't like how – I don't know. I don't know if it'll work out. I don't like how much they paid for him, even though they didn't pay a crazy amount. But thank goodness Sam Darnold fell apart in the last couple games he played. Or, man, he'd be making $45, $50 million. Obviously, sucks for him, but the Steelers probably would have given him that shit. We probably would have been one of the only organizations dumb enough to do it either. Craziness, though. Just trying to see if there was any news drops while I was on air. It doesn't look like it. It does not look like it. That's good. Well, I mean, it kind of sucks because it would be fun to break that right here. But yeah, doesn't like we didn't miss anything, so that's interesting. Kind of died down today. Maybe it'll pick back up soon, later on this week. Aaron Rodgers, obviously, so top like 100 free agents, right? We'll go over that. We still have Amari Cooper out there, Asante Samuel, which the Chargers really flipped their whole cornerback defensive back room. That's interesting. Cam Robinson, in case the team needs an offensive tackle. Stephon Diggs still out there. Tevin Jenkins, that's a pretty good young offensive guard. I don't know why he hasn't been picked up yet. Calais Campbell, old, but probably still pretty good. But Aziz Ojolari, that'd be a good pickup for like an edge, like rushing linebacker kind of guy. Mekhi Becton, another good offensive guard, like interior lineman, young as well, 26, 27-year-old guy. Jameis Winston, a little bit older. I mean, I'd rather have him than Russell Wilson on the Steelers personally. Russell Wilson's still out there. Dante Fowler, an edge player, a little bit older, but that's fine. Charles Omenihu still out there, which is interesting. J.K. Dobbins, after the great year he had, is still out there, which is interesting. I'd love for the Steelers to get him. Zadarius Smith, who's a little older, is still out there. Mike Williams, who came for the Steelers last year and was on the Jets, still out there. Justin Simmons, a safety who's had some great years in the past, is still out there. Stephon Gilmore, another defensive back who's had some great years before, is out there. Kaiser White, whoa. Why have the Cardinals not re-signed Kaiser White? What's going on here? Wow. Russell Douglas, cornerback, still out. Elijah Moore, Brandon Scherf. I think Brandon Scherf retired, actually. If I'm not mistaken. Keenan Allen still out there. Cooper Kupp. Justin Blackman, the safety. Tyrone Smith, the offensive tackle. Mike Hilton, safety, like nickelback kind of guy. Jedrick Willis, the offensive tackle. Nick Chubb. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers still out there. Oh, my goodness. There's a lot of really good, talented players out there still. That's interesting. I cannot wait to see where these guys sign. I cannot wait. Oh, the Panthers just signed out. That's why I didn't know that before this episode. Because that did happen just recently. That happened like right before the episode, must have. That's good though. But yeah, then there's also, of course, a little bit of stuff going down in the a little bit of stuff going down in the NBA. We had some injuries since the last time I was on. Obviously, this is probably going to be like I mean, obviously this episode is going long is what I was going to say, because like we've missed a lot of stuff and there's a lot of stuff happening currently, like right now in the NBA, or not in the NBA, well, also in the NBA, but also in the NFL. And then so we're going to have to kind of get all that into this one episode, but that's fine. But stuff we have missed is Victor Wembanyama, Greg Popovich, both out for the season. Bad for the Spurs, but possibly given the Spurs might tank and then get a lottery pick. A lot of people were saying like, oh, back when like I don't know, the Spurs might get a really good draft pick, which would be crazy because, right, if you have Wemby, De'Aaron Fox, and then a good draft pick, and then Stephen Castle, Spurs will be back next year for sure. They'll be good. Hopefully Greg Popovich is all right too as well. Wemby will be fine. It's like a blood clot or something, but he should be fine overall. Kyrie Irving out for the season. The Mavericks, oh my gosh. And then Klay Thompson's like, oh yeah, I want to bring them back to glory. Well, you're going to have to wait. Poor Kyrie, like tore his ACL. That sucks. Mavericks out of it now. I mean, obviously Klay and AD, and like, so weird to say that those two are the Mavericks. Oh my gosh. I mean, the Mavericks could still be a bubble, like they could still be like a playing team. I mean, they still got a chance to do better than the Suns. The Suns are trash right now. Embiid is out for the season. I don't know when the 76ers are going to. I mean, the thing is, I was going to say, I don't know when they're going to trade him, but like, can you even trade him now? Can you even trade? What would you get for Joel Embiid? I'm not giving you a first round pick for Joel Embiid. I would rather have the 30th best student in college basketball. And I couldn't even tell you remotely who that is. I know like 5 college basketball players. I would rather have the 30th best student in college basketball than Joel Embiid. That's how bad he is. The 76ers should have traded him when they could have. Should have traded him right after the MVP year. Should have been like, oh yeah, this is the MVP. You want him? Come get him. I don't know. LeBron is injured for like 1 to 2 weeks apparently. I don't know exactly how many games they have in that span, but that's not good. They lost their first game without him. Actually, this is the main thing I want to talk about NBA-wise. The LeBron James, Stephen A. Smith situation. LeBron James came up to Stephen A. Smith during the Knicks game. Stephen A. Smith was there because he's a Knicks fan. LeBron was there because he's on the team. This was also, I believe, the same game. Or I think he got injured the game after or something. But LeBron walks up to Stephen A. Smith and was like, hey. Because Stephen A. Smith was like, oh, I'm pleading to LeBron as a father. Like, stop letting Bronny play in the NBA, right? All this crazy stuff. But then it's like, so LeBron James gets upset about that, walks up and was like, hey, like, I don't care. Like, leave my son's name out your mouth, like all this. Which, I mean, it's fair, but it's not, right? Because we're acting like the Lakers went out and then, like, drafted Bronny James in the first round. Like, and, like, sold and, like, gave up, like, way too much to get this guy. Because, like, so at first I was like, oh, yeah, LeBron's stupid. Like, his son's in the NBA. He deserves to get criticized. But then I watched this Nick Wright video, and he was, like, talking about how Bronny James was drafted 55th overall in the NBA draft, and then all of his stats, like minutes played, games played, points, assists, all the stats are, like, around the 50s, which is like, okay, that's fair. 50, like, compared to other rookies, right? Compared to other rookies. So, like, this rookie that was drafted 55th has, like, 55th, like, rookie stats, right? Like, 55th position-wise rookie stats, which I was like, oh, wow. Like, that already was like, okay. But then I was like, oh, yeah, so then why are we criticizing him so much if he's just playing to his standard? Like, we can't expect him to be LeBron James. But that's the thing is everybody's like, oh, yeah. Like, why is he not great? But it's like, so then Nick Wright, he rattles off all of the other second round, like, NBA picks. And I was like, oh my gosh, I only know some of these dudes because of, like, the Final Four and stuff. Like, I only knew some of them because of, like, them being in let's let the camera catch back up. Let's see. Trying to get this camera back on. There we go. Yeah, so where we left off at was the Bronny, Stephen A. Smith, and we left off on the Bronny, Stephen A. Smith, and LeBron situation. And I was talking about how Nick Wright made a really good bit. Like, Nick Wright changed my entire perspective, actually, on this situation. I was like, wow. I was like, LeBron's dumb. Like, this was my genuine thoughts. I was like, LeBron's dumb. Your son's in the NBA. He can be criticized, right? But then Bronny's playing to his draft position in the NBA and even better in the G League, right? Way better than his draft position in the G League. And then also, when Bronny's in the also, like, that's what I was saying. Nick Wright started rattling off all these other second round picks, and it's like, how many times have you heard these guys talked about in like big national sports media? And I was like, oh wow, I've only heard them talked about like during like their times in their college teams, and that was rarely, and like those were like only some of like a select few of them because of they were like in like higher level programs that were like in the Final Fours and stuff, like right, Elite Eight. So I was like, wow, that's crazy. I don't know. It was just, I was like, okay, so maybe we are being too hard on Bronny. And then like, right, and then even Stephen A being like, and like, right, obviously LeBron has to be sick of it, and he's assuming that Stephen A would be like a respectful individual. And then like I guess apparently like LeBron had like his people call Stephen A and be like, hey, like maybe stop talking about Bronny. But then it's like, and then like Stephen A made fun of him for having his people call. I don't know. Stephen A is ridiculous. LeBron is ridiculous. So the combination of these two is like super ridiculous, right? Extra ridiculous, if you will. Whatever like additional word you want to use. But yeah, it's just an insane situation. And then like just the two of them combined is just a crazy combo. Yeah, but like those two together are like something like out of a storybook. But yes, but yeah, so I would say like neither side is really like wrong, but both sides are ridiculous. Like, who cares if your son's getting like talked about and like discussed? He's in the NBA. You have a big name. It's kind of part of like the brand. And then also like, who cares if LeBron's mad at you? Like, yeah, like if I walk into like some YMCA, right, and I'm like, oh yeah, this kid's like trash. This kid needs to quit playing basketball. I bet you anything, his dad is gonna be like, hey yo, quit talking about my fucking kid like that. Like so, like it's fair. But yeah, anyways, we'll see when LeBron returns from his injury. But also LeBron like single-handedly beat the Knicks that night, basically. Like as in like came in clutch. And then that is Stephen A. Smith's team, so it's kind of funny. It seemed like LeBron kind of won that. Obviously, Stephen A. Smith is going to keep saying what he wants to say, whether or not it's him, right? Because he does have a lot of power with his show because of like where he's at now. But like whether or not it's him and or the producers, like who cares? Bronny's a big topic. It was a big topic before he got drafted. You knew this was coming, so I don't know what LeBron thought like different was going to happen. But yeah. MVP race is heating up. It's basically either Jokic or SGA. What side are you on? I like SGA. I was looking at stats and I was like, oh, actually, Jokic stat-wise might be the guy. But then there was one stat or like one combo of stats, if you will, that I was like, actually, give this shit to SGA. Not only is like I'm like the guy who gets like sick of seeing repeated winners, right? Unless like they're like really that crazy dominant. And I mean, yeah, Jokic is great. Don't get me wrong, but like, is he really like undoubtedly the best player of the year this year? No. Should he have had multiple in a row? Yeah, give him the one over Embiid a couple years ago. That's fine. But should he get it this year? No, I don't think so. Because SGA was in the talks last year, right? He almost deserved it last year. Now this year he's even better, and so are the Thunder. So he deserves it now. Because not only like did he like regress, right? Also, like, I don't think the Nuggets are too far behind, but they're also not too far ahead. Let's see what the standings look like. NBA standings. Oh, they're second. But they're 11 games behind in second, right? So, like, yeah. But that's not anyways. The stat that surprised me the most and was like for me like, oh yeah, give this to SGA was SGA is like not in the top 25 of minutes played, but is the leading point scorer. He has like the most points. So like I don't know what his plus minus is, right? But it's crazy, right? And then Jokic is in like the top 25. I think he's in the top 10 actually of minutes played per game. Let's look minutes per game. Yeah, Jokic is tied for 8. Well, him and Jamal Murray and Ant Edwards are all 8th necessarily. They all play. So they round out the top 10, right? Oh, they all play 36 and a half minutes per game. Yeah, he's doing that, and I don't even – is he second in points? He's third in points, right? Yeah, Giannis is a little bit higher. And, I mean, it's a 4-point difference, right? It's not like it's 2 buckets per game. But, like, for SGA to be having such low, like, play time, right? And, I mean, yeah, he doesn't have nearly as much rebounds as Jokic, but he has almost as much assists. Like, right, Jokic is averaging a triple-double, but, right, that doesn't lock you in necessarily at MVP the same way it did when – because, like, right now it's been done before, so it's not like so. But, yeah, like SGA himself, right, such a prolific scorer with such little amounts of minutes – or not little, right, because obviously he's a starting 5 player. And he's, like, the best player on his team, so he probably gets the most minutes. Him scoring that much with that little amount of time, to me, I was like, yeah, you got to give SGA MVP. Because if Jokic is up here, like, yeah, he's playing all this amount, the team runs through him, his team's like this good, yeah, but like SGA's team is better. SGA's not even playing that much, but he's still doing more with that. Like, I don't know. I say you got to give it to SGA. Like, overall, you have to give it to SGA. Also, Jokic has been MVP before. Like, give it, like, it's somebody else's turn. Right? And I mean, it's not like really like a take turns kind of thing, but it's somebody else's turn. A couple of things like historic things have been happening. Diana Taurasi retired, not NBA, but WNBA. Congrats, Diana Taurasi, one of the best players of all time, so that's good. Steph is about to hit 400 threes. Also, Golden State becomes the 5th team ever with 3,000 wins, or 4,000 threes. That's what I meant to say. Steph is going to hit 4,000 threes. Golden State is also the 5th team to hit 3,000 wins recently. They are now with the Lakers, the Knicks, the Celtics, and the 76ers, which makes them in crazy company because those are 4 like legendary. You would think the Bulls would almost be up there, but the Bulls aren't. Like the Warriors hitting that before the Bulls is an insane stat. And then Steph is also going to become the first NBA player to also, like, active NBA player to also become a, like he's a GM. He's going to be the GM of Davidson University, like the school that he went to play at. So that's cool. Also, LeBron James became the first and only ever player to hit 50,000 points. Also because he's played since I was born, basically. He's been in the NBA. Yeah. But, I mean, still not easy to do that. Like, plenty of other players have played 18, 20, like close to those amount of years and not came close. So, can't take it away from LeBron. He's crazy good. I don't like him as a person, but, man, as a basketball player, he has had an amazing career, an insane career. But, yeah. And also, like how I said, the Thunder, and then they are the top team in the West. The top team in the East is the Cavs. These 2 teams are going crazy. The real question is, can they keep it rolling into the playoffs and probably, hopefully for them, the finals? We shall see. I think the better chance of either one of those teams to make the finals would be the Cavs. The Cavs are a slightly better team record-wise, obviously, than the Thunder. Let's see, I don't think it's by much. Thunder are 53 and Thunder are 53 and 12. Cavs are 55 and 10. 2-game difference. Cavs are the only team that's locked into the playoffs currently, technically. like mathematically wise, like obviously Thunder are probably going to make it. Let's be real. But mathematically wise, the Cavs are the only team locked into the playoffs currently in the NBA. Also, the Cavs have less of a fight. I know that sounds crazy because Giannis and the Knicks and the Celtics are in the East, but that's not LeBron and Luka. That's not Jimmy Butler and Steph. That's not Ja Morant and Zach Edey. That's not Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. That's not this Rockets team. And then right now, and then if the Suns get in because the Mavericks are super injured, that's not Kevin Durant and Devin Booker up there. That's not Ant Edwards up there. The Clippers, Kawhi, James Harden, the Kings. Oh my. Yeah, the West is going to be way harder to win. I'm telling you that right now than the East. Especially, like, the Cavs are just – and, like, that's the thing, too. The Cavs are a better team. So, like, obviously, they're going to have – oh, man. Craziness. But Luka had a triple-double against the Mavs. That was crazy. That was good. Luka had a crazy game against the Mavs. That was good for Luka. He's actually starting to shine in the Lakers now, which is dangerous. They definitely – a lot of people are having them as the favorites for them to win the West now. I think it's going to be the Warriors. So we'll have to see. But I would not surprise me if the Lakers pulled something off. The Cavs are actually on their second 15-game winning streak of this season. That's something I forgot to mention about the Cavs. That's crazy. I don't know if that's ever happened before. I'm assuming – I don't think it really got reported as like, first time ever, but I may have just missed that part as well. But that's pretty impressive. 2 15-game winning streaks in one season is like insane because it's only an 82-game season, so that's already 30 games, and that's only the streaks, right? That's 30 consecutive games that you won. Like that being like, then you only have 52 more games, right? So even if you split those even, you're like 56-26, which would be a really good record. I mean, it wouldn't be like that's a 100% playoff record. But yeah. Mikal Bridges, he, speaking of minutes per game, is tied for first in minutes per game with his teammate, Josh Hart. And then I don't believe Jalen Brunson was far behind him. So he apparently was like pleading with his coach publicly and personally. OG Anunoby actually is sixth. So Mikal Bridges is playing 38 minutes per game. Josh Hart is playing 38 minutes per game. OG Anunoby is playing 37 minutes per game. Jalen Brunson is playing 35 and a half minutes per game. Karl-Anthony Towns is playing 35 minutes per game. Their entire starting five is playing like 3 quarters. A full 3 quarters. They're all in the top 25 minutes per game. And their bench is not bad. I was like, maybe their bench is just this bad. I went to go look. I'll tell you the rest of this roster right now. I will tell you the rest of this Knicks roster. It is not bad. So, right, I named Bridges, Brunson, Hart, Anunoby, and I named Karl-Anthony Towns. They also have Miles McBride, Cameron Payne, Landry Shamet, DeLon Wright. They also have Precious Achiuwa, Marjon Beauchamp, PJ Tucker, and they also have Mitchell Robinson. So it's like, this is not like, that's like, what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 like fully capable players. And then that's 13 people. You probably have one of the best 13. Oh my gosh. The Knicks are, to me, the Knicks and the Cavs will be if it lines up right, tournament-wise, like side-wise in the tournament, they will be the Eastern Conference Finals. One of those two teams will win the East. My picks for the West are either the Warriors, the Nuggets. The Warriors or the Nuggets. Yeah. I was going to say, no, Warriors, Thunder. Thunder might do it this year. No, Warriors, Nuggets. Nuggets just beat the Thunder. It wouldn't surprise me if they did it again. Oh, the Titans just signed Draymond Jones for a 1-year, $10 million deal. He's a D lineman. That doesn't really improve their draft it doesn't really improve their offseason grade for me or their free agency grade for me because that's not that relevant. But yeah, the Knicks need to figure out their minutes situation. That's insane. They should not be playing those guys that much. Because when it comes to the playoffs, you're going to need them to play that much. And if they've been doing that all season, yeah, they're going to be like they're going to break down. They're going to break down. That's like, oh, yeah, how many miles do you drive your car per year? Oh, 45,000 miles. So, oh, damn, isn't the industry average like 15K? Yeah, no, doesn't matter. I don't care. Like, yeah, it's still toughness, but goodness gracious, Tom Thibodeau. Also, Tom Thibodeau, not only does he need to give up not playing his bench, he needs to give up that haircut he has as well. Maybe that was – never mind. Sorry, that was unprofessional. Kevin Durant started pushing some people when they played Memphis. That was like a big thing. Everybody's like, oh, my gosh, KD's so like ridiculous. They were getting in his face. Like, right, you can't get mad at like one guy for being aggressive and the other guys. You don't get mad at the other guys, right? Some random ass kid from Memphis that nobody fucking knows except for Memphis fans splash a three, right? He gets this splash on KD and then like treats KD as if like KD was playing like amazing defense and then he like was all like up on KD. Like, no. KD like came to you like as you were already shooting it, like, had his hand up, but like you made it. You got lucky and you made it. I still don't know this dude's name. Some trash little kid from Memphis. You don't get in KD's face after that. Like Anthony Edwards, right? Him and KD, they talk shit, right? Because they're cool, and also because Anthony Edwards is on KD's level. This little goofy kid from Memphis is not on KD's level. He does not need to be doing that to KD. That's ridiculous. Like, you got to have – come on. Like, we're talking about one of the greatest, like one of the top 10, 15 greatest players in the league ever. And you're going to get in his face like that. It's crazy. Then the last, like, NBA storyline was Zion had a triple-double. Zion's back. I mean, it was a 22, 12, 10 triple-double, like 22 points, 12 assists, 10 rebounds. Him getting more assists and rebounds was interesting. I was like, 22, 12, 10. I was like, it's probably 12 rebounds. I was like, I guess not. 10 rebounds, 12 assists. That was impressive. But yeah, him back, him getting triple doubles. Good for the Pelicans. Good for Zion. I'm excited. Good for the NBA. Zion being back is good for the NBA. But yeah, that's like, I mean, the Pelicans though, where are they at in the standings? They're not doing too hot. Like, they're the second to last team in the West, which is bad. The only other team below them is the Jazz, which is the only eliminated team. They're the anti-Cavs. They're the only eliminated team from the playoff contention so far. So yeah, that's basically a little NBA rundown. Currently, a lot of free agent stuff has happened as well in the NFL. More to come. There's obviously, like I stated, a lot more free agents out there. So yeah, this is, like I said, this was a long episode today, but that's because we missed 2 weeks and so much has happened. And I love to get going about the NFL. Like, we had to go through all the like free agent signings, which was a lot, quite a bit. But yeah, we're glad to be back. New setup, got the couch now. Logo coming soon. Yeah. Any improvements you guys think I could make, or anything that you didn't like or did like that I said, go ahead. Feel free to hit me up. Hopefully the Steelers get Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, great to be back. We should be back next Wednesday if everything lines up perfectly, all the stars align. Yeah, and you could expect us back on Wednesdays going forward. The draft is coming up soon. That's going to be exciting. NBA playoffs coming up soon. Good stuff. But yeah, March Madness coming up soon. Oh, man, it's going to be great. Yeah, so we're back. We're better. We're glad to be here. Glad to be alive. So good night to everyone who watched. Thank you for so much for showing up and supporting if you did. Yeah, much love to everyone. Stay blessed.